Hello YouTube, this is Chuck, and it's Thursday, September 26, 2024, and just about noon, and I'm out here in the van, and of course I'm back home from my Bisbee trip, and had a couple pretty interesting comments and emails that came in, and I think the best way to share them with you is just to read them to you. And so I'm out here, I've got my laptop out here, and so let me give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and read. The first one is a comment that was made on one of my older Bigfoot Stuff videos. And so unless you're really hunting back through the old stuff, you won't find it. But let me read you the comment and my answer to it, and then let me tell you what happened. Okay, to read this, says, good morning, working my way through your videos, so forgive me if you've covered this already in a more recent video, but have you covered negative experiences and how to handle them? Thanks in advance. Well, I answered that, and I said, I've talked about this somewhere before, and the answer is too complicated to adequately address here. Let's just say that the 200-year-old Sasquatch who has had nothing but negative experiences with humans for his entire life is probably not going to like us very much, and it may be impossible to convince him that you're not like the others. Maybe I'll make a video sometime and talk about this. Well, I just typed that last night, and what happened as I typed that, as I finished up typing that, I got a tingle. And I'm sitting in my living room in my recliner chair with the laptop on my lap, and I got a tingle. So I responded back to that, and as I always did, thanked them and told them if they wanted to, you can make it stronger. Well, when I asked who it was, it turned out it was one named Callan. And now Callan is probably in his 30s or 40s. We don't know exactly which, but he, my partner Kevin actually ran into him up on top of the Mogollon Rim at a spot, and he was very matter of fact and very open to talk, so I don't know, several months after that, one night he showed up at my house, and I actually had a little bit of back and forth with him then, so I knew he knew who I was. Well, last night it was Callan, and basically what he did is he was letting me know that what I typed in there is correct. Basically, that if you've got a very old elder who's had nothing but negative experiences with humans his whole life, maybe somebody's great granddaddy shot at him or something, and so they're not going to like us, and they're probably not going to change. Just like us old humans, when we get to a certain age, we don't like to change. So I thought that was pretty darn interesting, and funny enough, a few minutes ago, when I read over that sitting inside my living room again, getting ready to come out here to shoot this, I read that same thing and I got a tingle again. And I think it was Callan again. And I think what's it more, he was confirming that that's true. So that's my first one. My next one, I want to read you a couple of emails which came in that's kind of pretty interesting. So let me go over here and let me see if I can, first of all, let me get rid of this and do this. And then go back over here to emails. I'm going to turn this up here a little bit while I find the right one. It's a little hard to read. The light's a little too bright in here. So let me swing this back around. Okay, I'm going to, if I get a little bit, sound like I'm not reading this really smoothly, what I'm doing is I haven't talked to these people and asked them if they mind if I use their emails. So what I'm doing is I'm deleting any section here that has to do with where they are or anything like this in more detail or their names. So anyway, let me read this first one to you. I can actually see better to read it without my glasses on. So anyway, this first one is this is blank from New Zealand. I've been watching all your videos since you were on Flash the Beauty episode. I really think you have the best insight and correct approach compared to so many that seem to want to film and expose them. I believe that I had a possible encounter, and I have a photo of a face. I was wondering if it looks legit to you. I suspect that there are other ethereal forest beings around. In New Zealand, the Maori people call the forest fairies Papawatrai or something. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. Forgive me if I butchered it. And it's part of their history. There have been rare sightings of Bigfoot here in Mount Mayhow, so they call it the Mayhow Man, pronounced Moyhow. Anyway, here's my story. We live on the edge of a forest in Auckland, but I felt drawn to another different forest, which is a pine forest that is logged. As there is space to move between the trees where the local native forests are so dense you can barely get through them, for some reason I felt I might actually get an encounter there. I went with a friend, Blank, who also has a strong interest in Sasquatch. Actually, he's the only other person here that I've met who is interested. Anyway, we walked into the forest and quickly discovered about a dozen teepee-type structures and X-shapes. We went a bit further and found an area where there were many sticks about 4 feet long and about 3 inches thick. They were all pushed into the ground at a 45-degree angle. I later discovered that the Yowies of Australia do this. The area certainly had an eerie atmosphere about it. We continued walking and for 10 minutes had a very deep conversation about the spiritual world from a Vedic perspective. This is the world's oldest scripture from 5,000 years ago. I've got to scroll this up. Try not to get the camera too jumpy here. This is the world's oldest scripture from about 5,000 years ago and has incredible depth and detail. My friend is a strong atheist due to bad experiences when he was younger, but he has a very kind heart, and we discussed God, and he said, "Oh, so it's all about love." I said, "Yes." And suddenly there were 3 loud thumps in the ground, like an elephant kicking. I felt like they were applauding our conversation. Alan pulled out his phone and started taking photos, which I know they don't like. So it finished there. Maybe if he hadn't have done that, something else may have happened. The next day, he sent me a photo of what looks like a face peeping at us. Perhaps it's just part of a tree, but it seems to me to be too much of a coincidence to see the structures and sticks. Then I hear the loud thumps, all within 20 minutes. We went back a few months later and saw 3 police vehicles and 3 forest ranger vehicles all leaving the area in convoy. 6 months later, the entire area of forest was completely decimated and had been logged, so there was about a square mile of just muddy ground remaining. There's still lots of forest there, but it doesn't seem to have the same atmosphere as before. I wonder if the authorities discovered what was there and ruined the place. Anyway, I will include some photos of the face and structures. I'll be curious what you think. Thanks for your time. By the way, I'm 61-year-old blank and live with my wife at the edge of a beautiful forest. We have 2 grown-up daughters and 3 beautiful grandchildren. I look forward to slowing down a bit and doing a lot of van camping like you in the next few years. I love that lifestyle. We recently made 2 trips to Harrison Hot Springs near Vancouver, that's British Columbia, and went hiking at Sasquatch Provincial Park and Golden Ears Park with a well-known researcher. We had an amazing time. Kind regards. Well, the individual sent me those photos. He sent me a bunch of photos, and most of them were stick structures, and they're very, very similar to what we see here. But the picture he sent me that he said looked like a young one peeking out of the bushes, I took a look at that, and by golly, I think it's probably as legit. I think it's a juvenile, and I told him that. And so I thought that one was pretty cool, and I thought it was worth sharing with you. I'm not going to publish the picture because, as I've told you before, the Sasquatch people I deal with kind of told me they don't like that. Even though I didn't take the picture and it came from someplace else, they still don't like me using the pictures. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to share it, but you have to take my word for it. It looked like a little head, maybe a 10-year-old or so, peeking over the top of some bushes. And it was relatively clear. It wasn't a bad picture. So, let me go on here and see if I can find this next one. I got to go back here. Here we go. Okay, this one says, I gotta scroll back here again. It says, "Hello, Chuck. I'm writing to you from blank in Middle Tennessee. My name is blank, and I have a story for you that I think you'll like. I have to start at the beginning of my experiences, though. I first started hearing footsteps following me on my runs a few years ago. That escalated to small rocks and acorns being thrown at me. My husband and I live in a rural area, and our road is mostly woods, at least stretches of it is. I'd hear footsteps plodding along behind me, rocks would pelt my sneakers, sometimes something would grab at my ponytail, touch it, and give it a hard flip. I'd stop to look and there would be nothing behind me. It was startling, but nothing to stop me from going out. Eventually, because of some unsafe people in our road, I kept my walks and runs to our property. We have 20 acres, mostly wooded. I have a loop trail that I go out on every morning and evening. I get stones and acorns thrown at me all the time. Once something rushed up behind me, stomping loudly, and grabbed my ponytail and flipped it. It was so surprising that I thought my husband was sneaking up on me, but once again there was no one there. I decided that I was probably being harassed by demons or something, evil at least, although I'm never hurt and it never feels evil. It's just how I was taught growing up. The presence is always there. I need to scroll. The presence is always there following me on my walks and runs now. Most days I hear the footsteps. It's become reassuring that I have company while I'm alone in the woods. Most days I smell the odors, so many different odors, from a downright strong stink to a cucumber smell, to a sweet flower smell, beer, fabric softener, and even of the type of body wash I use. Even that is being mimicked. There's a kind of taffy that I eat. They'll smell like that too. About a month ago, I started getting visuals at night during my meditation of a Bigfoot. That surprised me a lot. Then randomly, my husband wanted to watch a flash of beauty on YouTube. It blew our minds, LOL. That's when I told him that I kept seeing Bigfoot in the woods in my meditation and in my dreams. I kept seeing Bigfoot in my meditation and dreams. He suggested I try talking to him and asking what he wants. Our friend in the woods said that his name was David, which is not a name that I expected a Bigfoot to have, though I have no idea what kind of name I expected. I told my husband to ask as well, without me telling him what name I'd gotten. He got David too. He's our guardian of the woods, and I know that he is good and kind. He started telling me things about myself and my husband and what we mean to him. He said that he is 1,000 years old. At first he wouldn't tell me how old he was. He'd just say, "Oh, so old," and then laugh a little. They laugh a lot. I asked him if there was anything that I could do for him. He asked me not to bring my dog back in the woods. She barks too much and bothers the deer and turkeys and everything else that lives there. I asked if I could leave him anything. I immediately got back, "Apple, apple, apple." Now I know that was one of the children talking at that moment. The apple was taken without a trace. After we watched the documentary, we watched your full interview, and I have to scroll up again. I'm getting a lot of light reflection off of the keyboard here. I'm trying to hold my hand over it. We watched the documentary. After we watched the documentary, we watched your full interview, and you confirmed everything that we were learning. It is amazing. So far, I've gotten 7 names and some ages. 1 adult male, David. 2 women, Neva, who is 82. I made the flub of exclaiming that Neva was an old one. I got back, "No, I'm not old. I'm as young as you are. My own age is 35. There's another woman called Morona, who I've never talked to, and her little girl, Ramona, who is 3. 3 boys, 6, 8, and 10. Elrod, Elrin, Elcor. Roddy, Rinny, and Corey. That's them. That's how they introduce themselves. The little ones, we think, are coming to the window of our house to talk to our parrots. We have 3 parrots. One refuses to sit by the window at night now. I can feel the Bigfoot's presence when I have my parrots outside. A couple of days ago, I went outside and caught a brown flash run in front of me away from the window. I asked who it was, and I got back tittering giggles and, "Corey, because I like the birds." Last night, I got the funniest surprise at all. I was laying awake around 1 a.m., staring at the ceiling, when I got a hard zap in MindSpeak saying a simple hello. Before I could respond, my macaw parrot, who sleeps on a stand just outside our room, said a happy hello. He was getting MindSpeak at the same time. Then I got MindSpeak that it was one of the children making a squawking sound. It was so strange and funny. My parrot responded with a chuckle and a woohoo and other nonsensical gibberish. I think they've been talking to him all along at night. he'll start jabbering away and laughing in the middle of the night for no reason. We'll laugh with him and tell him to go back to sleep, silly. He woke me up the other night asking for water, and I stagger out of bed to go get him water, thinking that his bowl must have been empty. He had water, and he started to laugh like he just played a funny joke on me. I believe that the Bigfoot children are playing with him in the middle of the night. Anyway, I hope I haven't rattled on too long for you. I just want you to know that you've been a blessing to us. They are really incredible and God's gift to us. I don't live in a community where it would be wise to share any of this right now, but I can tell you. Oh, two more things before I go. The one called Neva is gray. Other strange things that I've encountered in my meditation, I've seen that the children have another creature with them. He is gray and looks like a koala and a gremlin mixed together. He is small and they carry him around sometimes like a pet, but he is every bit as intelligent as they are. I asked what he was and I got back Narbear, or sometimes called Nardog. They said that he was their best friend. He is the one that likes to watch one of our neighbor's house because he thinks the neighbor's dogs are funny and he'll go tease them. I also got that he's the one that smells like cucumber, sometimes because people think that the cucumber scent means a copperhead snake is near. But it's not, it's Narbear. All this is so strange and interesting to me, and all sounds a little bit crazy. I hope this letter finds you well, and thank you for all you do. We're really enjoying your YouTube channel, too. I think that's the end of it. Yeah, that's the end of it. Anyway, isn't that just the coolest darn thing? And I wanted to share that with you all. I've gotten quite a few comments back from people in New Zealand, and some of them don't think the Sasquatches are there, and some of them are reporting activity. So we know they're there. They can basically be everywhere. And anyway, I think that's enough for right now. I've been obviously concentrating on my busy videos for the last week or so. So this was just too good not to share with you. So it's getting a little toasty out here in the van. I'm probably sweating. So let me wrap this one up like I always do and tell you to take care of each other and love yourself. And it's a wonderful life. And I'll be back with another one with you here pretty quick. I've got a number of them in the hopper. And but I'm glad to be back home. I'm glad I'm home safely. I hope you all enjoyed my Bisbee videos. I got a little more Bisbee footage left. I'm not sure if or how I'll be able to use it, but I'll maybe figure out something. So until I talk to you again, there's nothing more to do than to just tell you, peace out.